Galactic Council shocked by humans' simple cure to interstellar plague. It began with a whisper that echoed through the cold, empty void of space, a warning of a plague that spread like wildfire. No mercy, no escape. Entire star systems, once vibrant and alive, now reduced to nothing but silence, swallowed by an invisible terror. At the center of it all, deep in the heart of the galaxy, the Galactic Council, the most powerful and advanced beings, gathered in desperation. These were the wisest minds, the strongest leaders, beings who had seen countless wars and overcome impossible odds. But this time, their faces betrayed a truth they couldn't hide. They were afraid. Their technology, their vast knowledge, every weapon they had ever wielded, it all meant nothing against this plague. Council member Thalos, we've lost another system. The Eldrin Empire, 12 billion souls, gone in less than a week. The plague doesn't slow down. It doesn't rest. Council member Illyra, we're out of options. Our scientists are falling apart, our greatest minds exhausted. We've deployed everything. Nanobots, bioengineering, sub-quantum treatments. Nothing. A plague mocks us, laughing as it spreads faster than light, changing, growing stronger with every moment. Council leader Voltarin, there has to be another way. We can't surrender. We have to consider all options. Council member Dravok, all options. You can't be serious. Do you mean those primitive humans on Earth? They don't even have the capability to leave their own star system. You want to trust our fate to those backward creatures. Council leader Voltarin, I don't care what they are. The galaxy is dying, Dravok. We're out of time. We vote now. Do we contact Earth, or do we let everything we've built turn to ash? The decision was made. A final, desperate choice by the galaxy's greatest. Humanity, long dismissed and overlooked, the species that had never mattered, was now their last hope. A reckless gamble, a plea for salvation, and perhaps, just maybe, the one answer that no one saw coming. And so, the call went out, piercing the darkness of space, to a small, unremarkable planet, to a species unprepared and unaware that the fate of the galaxy now rested in their hands, to Earth. Far from the chaos of the Galactic Council, on a quiet, unassuming planet circling an average star, there was a man whose name no one in the galaxy had ever heard. He was Dr. Isaac Marlowe, a brilliant yet unconventional scientist. In the eyes of his peers, a genius. In the eyes of the world, an outcast. He worked alone, surrounded by half-finished machines and the hum of outdated equipment. His lab was a relic, dusty, cluttered, filled with experiments that seemed like the ramblings of a madman. While the galaxy burned, Isaac's mind was focused on a completely different problem. His eyes squinted through thick lenses as he examined petri dishes, ancient microscopes, and stacks of old research papers, oblivious to the stars falling apart above him. Then, without warning, his lab was filled with a brilliant light, an impossible, blinding glow that swallowed the room. Isaac froze, eyes wide with shock, as the ceiling above him seemed to peel away, revealing a colossal shadow, a ship unlike anything he had ever imagined, hovering silently over his humble lab, the air buzzing with unfamiliar energy. Dr. Isaac Marlowe in the... Before he could finish, the light coalesced, taking shape, until 3 alien figures materialized in the middle of his lab. They stood tall, draped in robes that seemed to shimmer with a light of their own. Eyes like burning suns, faces drawn tight with worry and impatience. These were the emissaries of the Galactic Council, envoys sent from the heart of the galaxy, now standing in the midst of a cluttered, forgotten lab on Earth. Council envoy Raul Tor, you are the human called Isaac Marlowe. Dr. Isaac Marlowe. Last I checked, yes, though you're not exactly the delivery I was expecting. Council envoy Kernex, we have no time for your primitive humor. You are to listen. The galaxy is on the brink of destruction, and we have come to request your aid. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, let me get this straight. The galaxy, your galaxy, is in danger, and you want me to fix it. In here. Isaac's lab was a stark contrast to the grandeur of the alien visitors. Old machines beeped and whirred in the corner. A cat lazily stretched itself under a rusty table. Isaac's calm gaze met the council envoy's burning eyes without a hint of fear. It was as if the world ending was just another Tuesday in the life of Isaac Marlowe. Council envoy Raltor, do not mock us, human. You were chosen because your species, for reasons we do not yet understand, has survived diseases that no other species has. You will listen, and you will help, or we are all doomed. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, well, when you put it that way, let's hear what you've got. And so, the most unlikely of alliances began. In a lab that was more clutter than science, under the gaze of beings who had seen stars die and empires crumble, a single human prepared to face the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known, with nothing but his curiosity, a cluttered lab, and the faintest flicker of hope. The air in Isaac's lab was thick with tension, the hum of machinery growing louder with each passing hour. The clock was ticking. Every second mattered. Every misstep could spell disaster. Isaac's hands moved with frantic precision, mixing chemicals in cracked glassware while strange, glowing alien devices hovered around him, scanning and analyzing. The room buzzed with a blend of Earth's rudimentary electronics and the Council's impossibly advanced technology, two worlds colliding in one cluttered, chaotic space. Monitors beeped and flashed warnings. Charts flickered with data flowing faster than human eyes could follow, and the plague's relentless advance was mapped out on an ominous countdown timer, an alien display projected in the center of the lab. Days became hours, hours became minutes, as the galaxy's fate hung on the shoulders of a single man. Council Envoy Kynax, are you certain this will work, human? If your calculations are off by even a fraction. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, then it won't matter if you're advanced or not. We'll all end up as space dust. Now hand me that biosynthesizer and don't breathe on the samples. With every hour, Isaac's eyes grew darker, his movements sharper, driven by sheer determination. Around him, alien monitors displayed the countdown in harsh, blinking numbers, while the Galactic Council watched from light years away, monitoring his every move. They argued, doubted, cursed the decision to put their trust in a human. But the plague was spreading, unstoppable, ruthless, a crimson tide sweeping across star charts faster than anyone could believe. Time was running out. Council leader Volturin, Isaac, the infection has breached another quadrant. If this doesn't work, billions more will be lost. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, then I guess we'd better not mess this up. It was time. The cure, an untested, unproven cocktail of Earth's crude science and alien technology, was complete. There would be no second chances. The Council chose a distant, quarantined colony for the trial, a place already marked for death by the plague. Drones, sleek and silent, hovered in the sky, the cure glowing in their canisters like the faintest spark of hope. Isaac watched from afar, his face etched with exhaustion, his eyes fixed on the screen displaying the alien colony, a barren, devastated landscape, empty streets, silent buildings. The drones descended, administering the cure into the atmosphere with the precision of machines built by a dying galaxy's best minds. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, here goes nothing. Seconds stretched into eternity. The countdown on the screen ticked down to 0. The atmosphere was still. The heartbeats of the Galactic Council, watching from afar, pounded in unison, and Isaac's lab was a tense silence broken only by the soft hum of machinery. Nothing moved, nothing changed, and then, a flicker of movement. A faint glow spread across the colony's dead soil. The first living leaf, untouched by the plague, unfurled from the barren ground. The monitor beeped, flashing green, a sign of life, of recovery. In the distance, the colony's vegetation began to regenerate, pushing back the disease that had once consumed it. Council Envoy Raltor, by the stars, it's working. The cure, it's actually working. The silence was shattered. Across the Council's distant halls, gasps of astonishment echoed. Isaac's lab was filled with a light that seemed brighter, a hope that felt stronger than the crushing weight of the ticking clock. Against all odds, the humans' crude solution, a mix of Earth's simplicity and alien brilliance, had done the impossible. Council leader Volturin, Isaac, you did it. The plague. it's retreating. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, it's a start. Now let's see if we can save the rest of the galaxy. In that moment, a single spark of hope ignited a fire that would burn through the darkness of the galaxy, a reminder that sometimes the simplest answers, found in the most unexpected places, are the most powerful of all. The news spread like wildfire, carried across the galaxy by hyperspace relays, star beacons, and desperate whispers. The impossible had happened. The plague, this relentless destroyer of worlds, was reversing. Slowly, steadily, life was clawing its way back from the edge of extinction. In the depths of space, on planets where all hope had vanished, green began to replace gray, light began to return to shadowed skies. Celebrations erupted across star systems, echoes of relief and disbelief mingling with the cheers of those who had been saved. Council member Elira, the latest reports confirm it. The infection is retreating faster than we could have imagined. Entire sectors are beginning to recover. The human, he did it. He truly did it. World after world sent transmissions of gratitude and wonder. Alien families, once hiding in fear, stood under clear skies, embracing as they watched their planets heal. Skeptics, once certain of Earth's insignificance, could only watch in shock as Isaac's cure, a blend of Earth's simplicity and alien technology, outperformed every advanced effort the galaxy's greatest minds had attempted. Council member Dravok, how could this be? A primitive, unadvanced race, solving what we could not. Data flowed like a river through the Council's massive chambers, holographic projections displaying infection rates plummeting, curves dropping from red to green, planets turning from danger zones to safe havens. Numbers that had once spelled doom now told a different story, a story of hope. But amidst the celebration, there was a silence, a quiet realization. The cure was so simple, too simple. An answer so obvious that the galaxy's brightest had overlooked it in their arrogance. Council leader Voltarin, perhaps, we have grown too advanced, too focused on complexity, on perfection, and in doing so, we forgot the power of simplicity. This human, this Dr. Marlowe, he has shown us a truth we were too proud to see. Back in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, the atmosphere was tense. What should have been a moment of unity and triumph instead sparked a storm of resentment. Some factions rose to praise Isaac, hailing him as a genius, a hero who had saved them all. Others, those who had laughed at the idea of involving Earth, felt the sting of shame. They muttered among themselves, their faces tight with anger, pride wounded by the success of a species they had always considered inferior. Council member Dravok, so we are to bow down to this? Human now? Is that what we have become? A council that kneels to the first primitive who stumbles upon a solution we missed. Council envoy Kinax. His solution saved countless lives. Does it matter where the answer came from? The galaxy is healing because of him. Council member Thalos, perhaps. But there are those who will not be so quick to forget our humiliation. There are some things better left, buried. Tensions flared as the chamber devolved into heated arguments, factions forming and reforming with every word. Some praised the human's achievement, seeing a future of collaboration and learning. Others whispered in dark corners, their eyes flashing with resentment and distrust. In the shadows of the chamber, a group of influential council members, Dravok among them, began to conspire. They could not let Earth's success rewrite the narrative of galactic power. To them, the cure was not a triumph but embarrassment, one that had to be erased. Asterisk Council member Dravok, this human, he may have bought us time, but he has also made us look like fools. We cannot allow him to remain a symbol of our failure. He must be discredited, quietly, efficiently, without a trace. And so, amidst the celebrations, amidst the healing and hope, a darker plan began to form. Whispers of betrayal, of secrets that would be kept at any cost, echoed through the corridors of the Galactic Council. The galaxy had been saved, but not everyone was willing to accept that salvation. A storm was brewing, one that threatened to unravel everything Isaac Marlowe had fought for. Because in a galaxy where power and pride rule supreme, even the simplest truth could become the most dangerous weapon of all. As the galaxy celebrated, shadows moved behind the scenes. Isaac had become a hero in the eyes of billions, but not everyone saw him that way. In the darkened corridors of the Galactic Council, the air was thick with secrets and whispers. Among the towering spires of alien architecture, where the light never quite reached, a hidden game was unfolding, one that Isaac had no idea he was part of. Until, one night, the warning came. It was on a cold, rainy evening, the sky over Isaac's lab crackling with a storm. An unexpected visitor arrived, a cloaked figure, face obscured, dripping wet. The figure spoke in a hurried, hushed voice, revealing what Isaac had feared the most. Not everyone in the council wanted the truth to be known. There were those who would rather see Earth's success buried than admit their failure. Alien informant Dr. Marlowe, you must listen. There are those within the council who view you as a threat. They cannot afford to let your discovery stand. They are planning something. I don't know when or how, but you must be careful. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, who? Who's behind this? Why warn me now? Alien informant, there's no time. Just know that they are watching, and they will stop at nothing to ensure Earth's influence ends here. Trust no one. With those final words, the figure vanished into the storm, leaving Isaac alone in the darkness, his mind racing with 1,000 questions. Doubt began to creep in. Who could he trust? What would he do if the council turned against him? Days passed, and the shadows grew darker. Isaac noticed strange flickers in his lab's power grid, unusual data spikes, equipment malfunctioning in ways he couldn't explain. They were watching, waiting for him to make a mistake. Council member Dravok, the human, is growing too confident. He thinks he is untouchable. We must move swiftly before his influence spreads any further. Plans were whispered in the dead of night, secrets traded behind closed doors. Isaac was being cornered, and he knew it, but he wasn't about to back down, not when so many lives were still at stake. He needed proof, evidence to expose the betrayal. The trap was set, and the confrontation was inevitable. The abandoned station floated silently in the void, a relic from a time long past, cold, empty, and forgotten. It was the perfect place for a confrontation, far from the eyes of the galaxy. Isaac arrived alone, stepping from his small, battered ship into the station's dimly lit corridors. The air was stale, the shadows long and deep. He knew he was walking into a trap, but he also knew he had no choice. This was the only way to force the truth into the light. The rogue faction was already there, Dravok at the center, flanked by his loyalists, their faces twisted with anger and fear. The council's insignia gleamed coldly on their uniforms, a symbol that had come to mean power and control. They stared at Isaac with a mixture of disdain and fury as he stepped forward, calm and defiant. Council member Dravok, did you really think we would let you humiliate us, human? Your so-called cure was a fluke, a trick, and it ends here tonight. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, I'm not here to play games, Dravok. I know what you're planning, and I have proof. Earth's cure wasn't just luck. It held a secret, something your council's brilliant minds completely missed. You underestimated us, and that's why you're afraid. Council member Dravok, bold words from a species that barely understands the stars. What secret could your primitive mind have possibly discovered? Isaac reached into his coat, pulling out a small, glowing data crystal. He held it up, the light catching in the darkness, casting shadows across the faces of the row council members. Dr. Isaac Marlowe. I analyzed the plague's mutation pattern, something none of your top scientists bothered to check. The cure wasn't just effective because it was simple. It targeted a vulnerability hidden deep within the plague's code, a vulnerability that only existed because of the way it interacted with Earth's microbial ecosystem. It was a key, a natural lock, one that you couldn't have found because you were too busy looking for answers in your machines and technology. The chamber fell silent, a thick, suffocating stillness settling over the scene. Dravok's face twisted with rage, but beneath it was a flicker of something else. Fear. He had been outmaneuvered, exposed for the fraud he was. Isaac's words cut through the darkness like a blade, his truth undeniable. Council member Dravok lies, deception. You cannot prove. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, I can, and I will. This data is already transmitting to the Council's core, to every world that was touched by the plague. Your lies are over, Dravok. It's time the galaxy knew what really happened here. The tension snapped like a string pulled too tight. Dravok lunged, his fury boiling over, but it was too late. The truth was already spreading, flowing through the galaxy's networks, unstoppable and undeniable. The rogue faction had lost, and they knew it. Isaac stood his ground as the alarms began to sound, his face calm and determined. Council member Dravok, you've ruined everything. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, no, I saved everything. And now it's time for the galaxy to change. And with that, the galaxy's greatest secret was exposed, a truth that would shake the foundations of the Galactic Council itself, a revelation that would forever alter the balance of power among the stars. Isaac Marlowe, the human who had defied the impossible, walked away from the ruined station, knowing that his fight was far from over. The moment had come. The Galactic Council, once fractured and filled with doubt, now sat in unified silence. The chamber, vast and echoing, was filled with beings from every corner of the galaxy, those who had lost everything, those who had fought to survive, and those who had doubted humanity's place among the stars. All eyes were on the Council's central days, where a final decision awaited. Council leader Voltarin, the evidence is undeniable. The human, Dr. Isaac Marlowe, uncovered a truth that our brightest minds could not. His discovery, his courage, have saved us all. The Council must now decide. Do we hide behind our pride, or do we acknowledge what Earth has given us? A hush settled over the chamber as each council member placed their vote, a holographic panel lighting up before them, displaying their choice for all to see. Voltarin's eyes were locked onto the screen, waiting for the final result. The air was heavy, thick with anticipation. A single chime echoed through the vast hall, signaling the end of the vote. Council aid, the vote is unanimous. The Council will reveal the truth. The galaxy will know what happened, and they will know of Earth's role in our survival. A wave of emotion surged through the chamber, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, the shadows lifted. Humanity, a species once dismissed as insignificant, had become a symbol of resilience and hope. The decision spread like a shockwave, transmitted across every star system, to every world that had lived in fear of the plague. The message was clear. Earth had saved the galaxy. Council leader Voltarin, Dr. Marlowe, on behalf of the Galactic Council and every life you have saved, we owe you a debt we can never repay. Your courage, your ingenuity, have reminded us of something we had forgotten, the power of simplicity, of humility, of seeing what others cannot. Thank you for saving us. As the message spread, the galaxy responded. In the distant skies of alien worlds, lights began to shine, beacons of gratitude, signals of thanks, messages of unity that crossed the void between the stars. One by one, alien planets lit up, their skies filled with colors, patterns, and symbols known only to their people. It was a galaxy-wide acknowledgement of Earth's role in their salvation. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, I did what any of you would have done if you had been willing to look beyond the obvious. We aren't so different, you and I. We all want the same thing, to survive, to grow, to find hope when there is none. Let's not waste this second chance. Alien worlds, once ravaged by the plague, now sent transmissions of thanks to Earth, hailing the human scientist who had defied the odds. Isaac's face appeared on monitors across countless planets, a face that represented hope, resilience, and the will to overcome the impossible. The once isolated scientist, now a galactic hero, found himself standing in the center of a new alliance. Aliens who had never before spoken joined hands, united by a single act of courage. Council member Elira, we have been humbled by those we once saw as lesser. Let this day mark the beginning of a new era, a time when our strength will no longer be measured by the technology we wield, but by the unity we share and the humility to learn from one another. And so, Isaac Marlowe stood among the council, his name written into the stars. Messages of solidarity poured in from the most unexpected places, planets that had never spoken to Earth, alien leaders who had once scoffed at humanity's existence. They sent gifts, their rarest treasures, their deepest secrets, and their unwavering gratitude. Humanity had become more than just a member of the galaxy. They had become a beacon, a small blue planet that had once seemed insignificant, now shone like a lighthouse in the darkness, guiding those who had lost their way. And Isaac, the man who had started it all in his dusty lab, knew that the real journey had only just begun. The stars, once cold and indifferent, now held a promise of hope. And as the galaxy moved forward, united in a way it had never been before, the name of Earth became a legend, a story passed down from world to world, a story of resilience, courage, and the unexpected power of a single human mind. Months had passed since the day the galaxy was saved. Earth, once seen as a primitive outpost on the edge of the galaxy, was now the center of a new era. The first rays of dawn lit up the sky over a newly constructed facility, a stunning blend of human architecture and alien technology. The sleek lines of alien alloys merged seamlessly with Earth's concrete and steel, symbols of a unity that no one had thought possible. Isaac Marlowe stood alone on a balcony, the breeze tugging gently at his coat. He looked up at the stars, his gaze steady, his mind already racing with possibilities. Behind him, the facility buzzed with life, humans and aliens working side by side, sharing ideas, building technologies, crafting a future that belonged to them all. Earth's scientists, once isolated in their humble labs, now stood shoulder to shoulder with the galaxy's finest minds, forging alliances that would shape the destiny of the stars. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, it's amazing what we can accomplish when we stop seeing differences and start seeing possibilities. Ships, once only alien, now bore the mark of Earth's ingenuity, glimmering in the skies above, their hulls emblazoned with the symbols of newly formed alliances. Delegations from distant worlds visited Earth, exchanging knowledge, culture, and stories long hidden in the depths of space. The galaxy's greatest minds now looked to Earth for guidance, inspiration, and hope. A planet once ignored was now a beacon, a symbol of resilience, humility, and the unyielding power of the human spirit. Council leader Voltorin, let this day be remembered. Earth, our newest ally, has shown us that strength lies not in the stars we control, but in the hearts and minds of those we choose to stand beside. The galaxy is no longer just a collection of worlds, it is a family. And Earth is now part of that family. Isaac watched from the balcony as ships came and went, the sky above filled with the trails of interstellar travel. He had never imagined that his small lab, his lonely work, would lead to this, a galaxy united, a future where humans and aliens shared the same dreams. But deep down, he knew that this was only the beginning. The night was quiet, the stars above Earth twinkling like distant beacons of hope. Isaac sat in his lab, no longer the cluttered, dusty room it had once been, but a state-of-the-art facility, alive with the hum of advanced machinery and alien technology. His fingers moved deftly over a holographic screen, but his mind was far away, lost among the stars. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered. A piercing, unfamiliar tone echoed through the lab, a signal different from anything Isaac had encountered before. He froze, his eyes locking onto the display. The screen flickered, filled with a strange pulsing pattern. Something deep, something old, something that seemed to resonate with a power far greater than any plague. Dr. Isaac Marlowe, what is that? A transmission, alien, encrypted, broadcast from the farthest reaches of the known universe, a place where no ship had ever dared to go. It was a call, a warning, a challenge. Isaac's fingers hovered over the controls, his heart pounding. Whatever lay out there, it was something the galaxy was not prepared for, something that made the plague seem insignificant in comparison. The signal repeated, its tone rising and falling like a heartbeat, growing faster and more urgent. Isaac knew, in that instant, that the peace they had fought so hard to achieve was fragile, a brief calm before the coming storm. He stood up, his gaze fixed on the dark expanse of space, and for the first time in his life, he felt the weight of the stars pressing down upon him. The galaxy had survived this time,